first story today is from a girl in Tianjin who sent in a tale witnessed and experienced by her paternal grandfather, which he later recounted to his family and grandchildren. This story happened many years ago. At that time, her grandfather was still young, just over 20, and had not yet met or married her grandmother. This took place over 50 years ago. Her grandfather recalled that his great-grandparents, his parents, passed away early, and since he was their only child, he lived alone in the house afterward. Next door, though not right next to it, but separated by a plot of land, was the house of Mrs. Hai, who was his older cousin. Mrs. Hai lived with her husband, Mr. Tianji. Mr. Tianji and Mrs. Hai were only a few years older than her grandfather and had no children yet. Every day, Mrs. Hai took care of the garden, the house, and the cooking, while Mr. Tianji went out to sell food. Mr. Tianji didn't sell in the morning. He sold from the afternoon until late at night at the market before coming home. In the morning, he slept and prepared the food he would sell. Life was normal until one night. Her grandfather said that whenever he woke up suddenly while sleeping, it would take him a long time to fall back asleep. So, he would usually go to the front of the house, drink water, and then go back to sleep. That night was the same, but it was a very bright, full moon night. Grandfather woke up suddenly and went to the front of the house to drink water. As he stood drinking, he looked out the window. From his window, he could see Mrs. Hai's house. Because the moon was bright, he saw everything clearly. He saw Mr. Tianji coming home from selling, but it was extremely late, almost midnight. Grandfather wondered why Mr. Tianji was so late, as he usually returned by 8 or 9 p.m. at the latest. He thought perhaps Mr. Tianji had poor sales and lingered to sell everything before heading home late. He stayed on his side of the house. As Mr. Tianji rode his bicycle into the yard, he got off, propped up the kickstand, and walked toward the house. Grandfather noticed that Mr. Tianji was walking very strangely. "Grandfather," said Mr. Tianji, "never walked like that normally." That night, he walked in a jerking, twitching manner, with his head bobbing up and down. Grandfather was perplexed. It wasn't a limp, but a strange, jerking movement of his whole body and head. Mr. Tianji then loudly called for Mrs. Hai. "Honey, open the door for me." His voice was aggressive and harsh. Normally, Mr. Tianji spoke sweetly and gently to Mrs. Hai. But that night, his tone was frustrated and annoyed as he walked with that strange jerking gait. After calling her, Mrs. Hai hadn't answered yet. So he went back to unload the baskets he had strapped to the back of his bicycle onto the ground. Grandfather was utterly intrigued by Mr. Tianji's odd walk, the head bobbing and jerking. He became so curious that he decided to open his door quietly and go closer to see more clearly, but he didn't call out. Grandfather carefully opened his door and walked towards Mrs. Hai's house. Mr. Tianji was not paying attention, so he didn't notice Grandfather. Grandfather approached quietly. He heard Mr. Tianji call out again, shouting aggressively, "Wake up! Open the door! Why is it taking so long? Why is it taking so long?" Mrs. Hai finally replied, "Slow down. What's the rush?" Mr. Tianji then swore at her. I've been calling for ages. I've called so many times. What are you doing taking so long? Grandfather found this strange. Mrs. High was acting normal, but Mr. TNG was yelling, frustrated and threatening, still walking with that strange bobbing gait. Then, Grandfather saw Mrs. High open the door and stepped out onto the porch. Meanwhile, Mr. Tianji was carrying a plastic woven basket, the kind with holes in it, not solid. Grandfather noticed a liquid dripping from the basket. Grandfather paid closer attention. Because of the bright moon in his proximity, the couple hadn't noticed him. He strained to look inside the basket and was utterly horrified. He saw a human head inside the basket. Grandfather was terrified, gasping, "What is that? That's awful." He looked closely. Was it a head? It looked exactly like a human head. Specifically, the face of Mrs. High, his own cousin, who was standing right there, having just opened the door and talking to her husband. Grandfather was paralyzed with fear, feeling like he might wet himself right there. Seeing his cousin's head in the basket while she stood alive in front of him. He slowly turned, crept back into his house, locked the door, and went straight to bed. He lay there, thoughts racing. What did I see? Was it a mistake? It was clearly a head, and clearly my cousin's face. How strange. Maybe I was wrong. Maybe he bought the head of some animal he sells. But no, if I wasn't wrong, my cousin just came out and opened the door. She's alive, so I must have been mistaken. Grandfather tried to calm himself down, concluding he must have seen it wrong and it was just some animal head he confused with his cousin. He lay there, calming himself, and eventually fell asleep. The next morning, he woke up late, around 8 or 9 a.m. He went out to eat breakfast. As he passed Mrs. High's house, he saw both Mr. Taeonji and Mrs. High coming out. Mr. Taeonji first, followed by Mrs. High, who was carrying a bag of stuff, seemingly preparing to go to the market. Grandfather was shocked because he saw that part of Mrs. High's skin was missing from her forehead down to her face, as if someone had cut it with a knife. Grandfather exclaimed, "Mrs. High, what happened to your head, your face? Why is it like that?" Mrs. High smiled and replied, "Oh, it's nothing. I just got burned last night." But Grandfather knew that usually, when someone is severely burned by boiling water or porridge, the skin swells up. Mrs. High, however, claimed to be burned from her head down to her face, but her injury didn't look swollen like a burn. Grandfather said it looked exactly like someone had taken a sharp knife and sliced the skin off the area. He exclaimed, "That's a nasty burn. Are you okay? You should go to the hospital." Mrs. Hyde dismissed it, saying, "I'm fine. It will heal in a few days. Don't worry." Her attitude seemed normal, so Grandfather let it go. About 2 or 3 days later, Mr. Tianji told Mrs. Hai that he had won the lottery back then. Winning several tickets was a lot of money. The couple was so thrilled, shouting with joy. Grandfather heard them from his house, and Mrs. Bali, who lived diagonally opposite, also heard.